Reiner. Is he your type?
Can you stop?
Hi, I'm Bas.
Hi, I'm Renee.
Hello, I'm Chow.
Hi, I'm Leah, and this is Zula Chick Chats. Hi guys, and welcome to today's episode of Zula Chick Chats, and today we'll be talking about girls' expectations in relationships. So we are here to tell you guys out there what we expect in a relationship, but please don't take our words as 100% because everyone is different. Okay, with that said, let me introduce the cast today. For you guys, maybe y'all can share with the audience, like if you're currently in a relationship, how long have you been in a relationship for, and also how many past relationships have you had? So you know, they know your experiences.
Okay, so hi, I'm Mas. I'm 26 years old. I have 7 past relationships.
Okay.
So, I'm 25 this year. I've only been in one serious relationship. Now I'm super single. But yeah, that relationship was like a year and 2 months. In terms of like casual dating, I would only consider about 2 or 3 guys. The rest are like, okay, go out for 1 to 3 times, then realize there's no spark, then move on.
Okay,
yeah.
right. We have maybe got high expectations. This girl.
Okay, so if we go for like feels, okay, but the thing is, sometimes even if I got the
Oh no, it's not a question. Renee is appalled. She's like,
Just say 200.
no, it's not true. Maybe about 8.
What ah?
I'm currently attached,
Okay.
so which is why I say 8 is final because I think
right.
I'm pretty much done.
if you count the secondary school kind of so lah.
Okay.
I think 6. I'm currently attached. I'm sure all of us here have expectations of our partner, right? I guess what people will say, it's not really an ideal type, but it's like the things that you look for first when you start dating the person. Guys, take notes. Guys, take notes.
I think when I first meet people, right, I will always try and pinpoint what their values are. Because I feel like your values have to complement each other in order for the relationship to be sustainable.
Very wholesome response. The exam paper, right? Get 100 or 100. A plus.
I think maybe for me, sports is a very big part of my life. Ensuring that your partner has that understanding of that is quite important to me. And I think it's not so much an expectation, but it's definitely a very strong preference if he or she is someone that is also into sports and the outdoor lifestyle.
Renee.
Okay. So
Let's go. The real tea is here.
when you hear my answer, you're gonna be shook because it's very wholesome.
Okay. Is it not about the D?
It's not about the D.
Don't lie. Don't lie.
I will go into that later.
Oh,
but
okay,
it's like the
alright.
overarching- Okay, so a bit of backstory. I'm a bit of a late bloomer. I only had my first dating experience at the ripe old age of 21. So I would say that I went into the dating game having very serious, family-oriented expectations. The thing about me is, even though it's a terrible, terrible curse, but I have a thing for fuckboys.
你要有
When
大
I
男
see
人。
Ah Beng or the mud rape going then I'm like, 哎呀，讨厌，阿伯。
Oh my god.
I think at the end of the day, what I want is a fuckboy with a heart of gold, and then
Yes, which is rare.
Where to
Yeah.
find
But
out?
I think there's also a lot of other categories of expectations, right? So maybe we can give our point of view on how each category and what it weighs in our own relationships are, so that people can have a better idea. Maybe we'll start with quite a very obvious one, which is affection. Oh, everybody's face is like. Okay, so what?
if you don't give me affection, right, just get lost.
Oh my god.
The thing is, I actually had a change in perception about this from when I was younger. So because I was in a girls' school and girls school girls are quite friendly and touchy and huggy, that kind. It's very nice. But when I grew up in that environment, I thought I'm strong and independent. I don't need affection. But as I entered relationships, right, I realized that the relationships that had very little affection was just so painful to be in, because it really just doesn't feel like the love is communicated to you. So I don't feel like I'm loved. Then I realized that, hey, actually my love language is also physical touch. But it changed over the years. Right now I freaking love affection.
And even if you're not that kind of person, I think just little actions like pat the head lah.
Or they rest their hand on the back of the.
Or they walk, then they like at you. Then you're like,
But I think on that note, it's very important to get consent as well. I do know a lot of people who can be extra touchy, and it makes your partner feel uncomfortable.
I do appreciate physical touch as a love language, but when I was dating my ex, right, I did tell him that I'm not comfortable with PDA. Then he was like, what, you're my girlfriend and you won't even do this kind of thing with me? This is nonsense. Like, are you ashamed of me? Can I not kiss you in public? That kind of thing.
Well, that's the
Toxic.
real tea. This is something that we constantly say in Zula videos. Communication is key, but is it really key?
Duh! How are you gonna be with someone if you don't even communicate? I don't understand.
I agree. This one is something I feel is a unanimous yes. But I think another aspect of communication is also like texting, right? You know, it's like some girls expect the partner to reply in a half an hour.
Is that you? Oh my god, is that you? I was gonna say insane.
No, I don't have the timing thing. Because when I was in uni, right, I started dating this extreme fuckboy. And then when I was having classes, right, and I would like not check my phone for 3 hours, he would like double text me and be like, what the fuck happened? You die already, is it? So it's like, on one hand, I'm like, oh my god, wow, such a fuckboy. So I realized that too much of a good thing can be bad. But what I really cannot stand is people who think that the normal rate of texting your partner is only like once or twice a day to like check in. Like, we don't have to have like a constant discussion going on, but just like, you know, update me on little things, or even say like, oh, I'm having like mee pok for lunch. Then you'll be like, oh my god, so cute, have a good lunch, that kind of thing. It's like just small things to still have them in your life.
I agree with you, like hands down with that one. I'll tell you if I'm having mee pok for lunch.
But you're not my partner, I cannot tell that with
Oh my
Oh,
god.
no.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but I'm on a different level.
You are-
because I'm not a texter. I feel that texting is quite a high commitment because I need to spend time to really, I want to communicate things properly. But I know some people do prefer text, so I'm okay to have a conversation over text, but usually when that happens is usually when I get home lah. I know if my partner is someone that prefers me to text a bit more, I will make a little bit more effort. But of course, naturally on busy days or if I'm in the water training, I cannot reply.
I mean, sorry, I didn't reply message. Don't throw the ball to me. I think another point about communication is like the fighting aspect, right?
I feel like it's very, very important to have a healthy and mature like fighting style with your partner. So just to like thrash things out and agree that you are not against each other, but you're on the same team fighting against whatever is causing the disagreement.
But I think like, I wanted to add that I feel that the reason why there's so many differences in how people perceive things, right, is really because of our tolerance for conflict. I'm a very conflict avoidant person. I'm always the first one to say sorry, even if it's not my fault, because I don't want to fight anymore. I don't like it when people confront me. I felt that was very toxic and unhealthy because we started to cultivate that relationship where sorry became the solution for everything.
Right.
But it really was not the solution. I think one way that really helped me was having setting up a space to kind of let each other know that okay, we're going to have a mature and honest conversation about something that has been on my mind. So then the other partner is also prepared in the sense where you are going to bring up something that is probably difficult, but you have to because you know that it's important to communicate that point across.
Next one, very important also. Trust. An expectation that is very, very common, I guess, is like, you know, when you're together with a partner, if your partner is a guy, and then he hangs out with a lot of girls, what is your boundary for that?
I feel like the friends thing, right, the number doesn't really matter because a guy could be in a clique with like 10 girls and he will be like the most loyal partner ever, or a guy could have 0 female friends and he would still cheat if he wants to cheat. So there's no way that you can control your partner's like social interactions, especially some people, their job involves working with a lot of people of their desired gender. Towards my breakup, I had actually just joined TSL, and the nature of my job requires me to go on shoots with like male creatives, which my partner wasn't very happy about. But what am I supposed to do? Tell them I can only work with female creatives? It's not as if we're making out on the shoot.
Sometimes, right, I feel that the more that people do is the more they want to hold on to something, right, the tighter it gets on the other person.
Yeah.
That person naturally just feels like, oh fuck this shit, I don't want to be here.
I was starting to date this guy and I saw that he opened up his Instagram and it's just all these like SG Insta babes kind of nonsense. Then I'm like, ew, no. It just doesn't make me feel great when he takes out his social media. All he's doing is like ogling these you know, people.
In relationships, like I think the insecurity stems from the fact that you're just very afraid to be like heartbroken or very afraid for your relationship to end. And I think like you should just take that risk, because when you trust someone, it's a risk, right? Like you shouldn't be afraid to just give this person your 100%, even if it means that like in the future, you know, they might break your heart or whatever it is.
I think like maybe from all my previous relationships, right, I've realized that with every painful breakup, no matter how painful it is, right, you can always heal from it. So
That's
I think
right.
that has made me less afraid.
I think just now we kind of mentioned a bit about like morals and values and how we believe that it should be on the same page. But like, how about like future plans, like your future goals in life? Is that very important for you, or like you feel that not really?
How can it be not really? I don't understand.
Why?
Okay.
I feel it can be
It can be. Okay,
like,
so I think if marriage is the end goal,
Yes.
it's very important.
Yes,
if
yes,
you foresee
yes.
yourself spending the rest of your life with this person, for sure. Maybe for them, right, what if they are just in a relationship but long distance, then they stay in 2 different countries and there's no end goal. Some of them are just very okay to have that companion
Yeah.
or someone to talk to. It's very, very different. So like,
Yeah.
it depends on
God.
that law.
That makes so much sense. It is really about the timing also because you have the same end goal, but you are in a different stage of life right now, and it's not something that you can work with, or your goals will be attained at different speeds. Then it won't work out also lah.
Having aligned timelines and like how you envision your life in the long term is very important. I also dated a guy where everything was going well, but when we got down to discussing more serious details, we realized that I have a pretty fixed timeline in the sense that I want to get married at a certain age and I want to have my first baby before the age of 30. Whereas he doesn't even want to get married until 35, which for me is a huge difference. Not just because, I have to wait longer, but because like biologically speaking. And it's such a huge risk because what if I wait until we are both like 34 and a half and suddenly we realize we shouldn't be together.
Yeah.
Then all my youth has just gone down the drain and I'm still babyless and husbandless.
don't say like that, Renee! The external looks, physical appearance, I'm sure it matters to a certain extent. What is your expectations on said physical appearance? Renee, what do you think of Rainer? Is he your type in terms of appearance?
Can you stop? I don't think a guy's dress sense would be a deal breaker for me, but it would be a huge plus if he dresses like a hype beast. Ooh. Here's the thing, I cannot distinguish like authentic streetwear, so even if you buy like
Hey, Gucci, she also okay.
the $8 Supreme hoodie from Bugis Street, I also like, oh, nice, yeah.
All the hype beasts are all rolling. So they have like,
Funny.
sometimes they wear the windbreaker, the jacket. Oh, you see her eyes turning already.
How about for you guys? We all know what Renee likes.
I actually don't have a physical preference I feel like I dated a lot of people who look damn different.
I think for me, like, I do put in a bit of effort. Like, I don't put a lot of effort because I don't put makeup. But like, I definitely am somebody who eats very healthily and exercise a lot. So I think like for me, the kind of people that are more up my alley are all the tan skin.
I don't have like a standard look, but I have a range. I love the Ang Gong Xiao kind, like the tattoo and then like the hair, then like hipster one, long hair or what, that kind of I like. I just like the look, okay? I just look only. I also like the very good boy kind. I see all the idols, they all look like baby face, all the Korean guys, and I like, cute. So hence why my boyfriend's on the other spectrum. Okay, I mean there's many expectations, but this is one of another one that I think is quite important, maybe for people a little bit older, which is like the sex life.
For me, it's quite important.
Yes.
Because I think sexual intimacy is very important in a relationship, and I think it's something that I kind of enjoy doing with my partner. I've also been in quite a few relationships. I think that having a little bit more sexual experience is definitely a huge plus point. Because I'm sorry lah, you know, as much as I want to be nurturing, I don't want to be your sex teacher. I have had an experience where I had to teach someone how to finger me, and that was not the best experience. And like, I was a bit like, I feel very awkward saying that, but like sometimes I mean I don't want to teach people like which is the correct hole, you know.
End this conversation now. Okay, anyway, moving on.
Nothing against people who are like this, more power to you, but I would not agree to people who say they want to wait till marriage to have sex, because how on earth can I possibly commit to a dick that I have not ever experienced for the rest of my life? No, that's a terrible gamble. Also, I feel like sexual compatibility is extremely important. So like the earlier you know, then it can be a plus point, because let's say like you are just like on two different pages altogether, then it can be a bit hard.
I think it's just on that note of preference then. Like there are some people who don't even want to engage in this kind of sexual relationships, and that's perfectly fine as well. I don't think we are shitting on it anyway.
Yeah.
I think what we're trying to say is that then in that case, right, you have to make sure your partner's okay with that.
I think we kind of covered a little bit about how we have learned from past experiences, hence why we have such expectations, right? So, for example, if you're in a relationship with a person where your expectation is not met, most of the time, is it usually a case that you break up, or like is there like always a compromise? So yeah, what do y'all think about that?
Let's say the relationship is a long-term one and you feel like you can still get along, is try to find a compromise. I think that's what most people try to do. Especially when you're older and you feel like this person could be a potential life partner. So I think expectations will always change because our life goals change and who we are as people also change.
Yeah.
I would say that breakups are always like last case scenario. It's like really cannot save already, therefore or really too different or really cannot come to a consensus, then that happens. Although I think when I was younger, it was an easy solution.
Oh, that was me. That was me. I was like, oh, just break up. I don't know what's wrong. Just break up.
It takes experience, it takes years, and just you need to learn this kind of thing. Nobody freaking teaches you this in school.
Yeah.
Nobody tells you that you need to communicate with your partner. What the heck?
I think with expectations, you also need to prioritize what is the most important to you. Like, you need to identify what is the thing that you cannot live without. Because you need to prioritize yourself at the end of the day. Even though it is a relationship, but there's no point in the expectations are like here. So, any last final words to say to our viewers when it comes to expecting something from your partner?
When it comes to expectations, just find someone that you can feel that you can work through all the difficulties with, be able to communicate with that person and just do life with.
And if you have any like hard and fast deal breakers, just like make them known from the get-go and don't waste people's time.
I think just be upfront with how you are feeling. That's the most important.
So with that said, we have come to the end of the video. So thank you guys for watching. And if you liked the video, leave in the comments down below what you liked about it. Tell us your expectations in a relationship and let us know what else you want us to talk about next time. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.